The season's almost over, Bay Nation. And if you're sitting at the top of your leaderboard, it's time to start preparing for the future. This is where championships are won. Weeks 15 through 17, the fantasy playoffs. One good schedule could lead to a trophy, but a bad one may send you home early. Today I'm breaking down the best and worst playoff schedules so that you can make the right moves at the trade deadline and walk into the postseason prepared to take down the championship. Let's go get that dub. Let's get it started. These quarterbacks have the easiest playoff matchups. Weeks 15 through 17. JJ McCarthy has the easiest playoff matchups. He faces the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, and the Detroit Lions, which isn't a great matchup, but you have to score to keep up with them. Now, JJ McCarthy has not been overly impressive as of recently. His first game was over 20 fantasy points, but after that, it's been kind of up and down in regards to fantasy. I love his receivers. Ain't nothing like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So it's a bit risky, but if you're desperate, matchups are there. Tua Tagovailoa has the second easiest playoff matchups. He gets the Steelers, the Bengals, which is a great matchup, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, middle of the pack. I would prefer not to rely on him, but he's definitely out there if you're desperate. Lamar Jackson has the third easiest schedule. Finally, a relevant quarterback. He gets to face the Cincinnati Bengals, the New England Patriots, and his one bad matchup, the Green Bay Packers. But he's Lamar Jackson. He'll be fine. Daniel Jones has the fourth easiest matchup for quarterbacks in the playoffs. You get the Seahawks, who are mid, 49ers, who are banged up, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He should be fine. Moving on to the bad matchups. Quarterbacks with the hardest playoff matchups. Weeks 15 through 17. Patrick Mahomes has a terrible playoff schedule. First, you get a divisional rival in the Chargers. They're the fourth most difficult for the quarterback position. Then you get the Tennessee Titans, who he won't need to score on. They could beat the Titans scoring like 18 points. And then they get another divisional rival in the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos are second against the quarterback position. That's tough sledding. Now, he's Patrick Mahomes, so if you got him, you're riding with him. But it's going to be a bumpy ride. Next is CJ Stroud, but nobody's really playing him, so we're moving forward. Caleb Williams has the fourth hardest schedule. Starts off pretty brutal. Cleveland Browns are fifth against the quarterback. The Green Bay Packers are 11th, but it does ease up in championship week against the 49ers. I would definitely try to avoid that Cleveland matchup. The Browns are really good. Let's give a couple honorable mentions. Josh Allen has the sixth hardest schedule. Honestly, I just like his schedule more than some of the other ones. New England, that's fine. But then he gets the Cleveland Browns in the semifinals. And then he gets Philly in the championship. Now, he's Josh Allen, so I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to play him. But those are bad matchups. I can see him having some rough sledding. You might want to go for some upside with your flex plays on that week. And then you got my dog Baker Mayfield with the seventh hardest schedule. I'm not really stressing it too much, though. You got the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Dolphins. Nobody in there really scares me. No Clevelands, no Eagles, no Denver. He'll be fine. Needs his receivers back, though. Moving on to the wide receivers. Wide receivers with the best playoff matchups, weeks 15 through 17. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison have the best playoff matchups. Love to see it. In week 15, they get the Dallas Cowboys. Then you get the Giants and the Detroit Lions. Let's go. These boys should feast. It's really going to come down to, can JJ McCarthy get them the ball, please? If you can, it's going to be some good sledding. It's gross, but Jerry Jeudy has the second easiest playoff schedule. I mean, where the quarterback at? They get the Bears, the Bills, and the Steelers. Roll the dice at your own peril. I'm just the messenger. One guy I am excited for. Jalen Waddle has the third easiest playoff schedule. You get the Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, and my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but Jalen Waddle been balling. Wide receiver 3 in the last 3 weeks. He's wide receiver 10 on the year in half-point PPR. He just been balling. Very pleased to find he has a good playoff schedule. Let's get it. Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, if he ever comes back, has the fourth easiest matchup in the playoffs. They get the Titans, Colts, and Bears. Should be pretty solid. Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin both have good matchups. They have the fifth easiest schedule. There is one tough one in there, but it's like sandwiched in the middle. starting with the Giants, followed by the Eagles. That one's rough. But they cap it off with the Dallas Cowboys. And that's an easy one. Honorable mention goes out to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. They have the 6th easiest schedule. Pretty good. They play the Raiders, Commanders, and Buffalo Bills. Moving on to the bad matchups. Wide receivers with the worst playoff matchups, weeks 15 through 17. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy have the worst matchups in the playoffs. Start off with the Chargers, who were 5th against the wide receiver. Tennessee Titans, who they won't be needed for. Then cap it off with the Denver Broncos with some of the best corners in the league. Pat Surtain is a problem. And the rest of that defense is pretty good too. What are you going to do? Rashee Rice? No. But you may want to find upside somewhere else. Emeka Egbuka has the 2nd worst schedule for the wide receiver position. This makes me so sad. But he's a dog. So I think he should be all right. We just need to get some players back around him. But he faces the Atlanta Falcons in week 15, the Panthers in week 16, and the Dolphins in championship week. I mean, he's still in my lineup. I couldn't imagine sitting him. But I will lower my expectations a bit. No one's starting Calvin Ridley, but he has the 3rd worst schedule. Marvin Harrison Jr. has the 5th hardest schedule. This was actually really tough. The Houston Texans, who lock it down. Expect Derek Stingley to be on him. The Atlanta Falcons, and then it lightens up a lot in the last one. You get the Cincinnati Bengals, kid. So if you make it to the championship, you got a pretty good matchup. You just got to get through some really bad matchups. And Chris Olave is an honorable mention. He has the 6th hardest schedule. Faces the Panthers, the Jets, and the Titans. I'm not overly scared, but it's not great. Moving on to the running backs. Running backs with the best playoff matchups, weeks 15 through 17. Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt has the easiest matchups in the playoffs, but he has been struggling. Outside the top 50 in the last month. Ugh. He does have a good schedule though. Giants, Eagles are but the Dallas Cowboys are great. He's had a rough month and a half. Hopefully he bounces back. Trey Benson has a great schedule if he ever comes back. If not, this would be Michael Carter or Amari DiMercado. Or Bam Knight. It starts off terrible. You get the Houston Texans, which is absolutely awful. They are incredible against the run. They're like 7th. But then you get Atlanta and the Cincinnati Bengals. That Bengals matchup is incredible. Chef's kiss. So I'd probably avoid him in week 15, but 16 and 17? Yeah, he can be in there, assuming he's back. Devon Achane has the 3rd easiest matchups in the playoffs. This dude's gonna win people championships. I'm actually low-key upset because one of my friends just traded for him and it caused me to lose last week and it's gonna cause my playoffs to be more difficult. Achane about to be good. Not that he hasn't been. Running back 3 right now. Starts off with the Steelers, which is meh, but then he gets the Cincinnati Bengals and my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which up the middle, we're good at stopping the run, but as soon as you start throwing it to the running back, we can't do nothing with it. And you throwing it to Devon Achane left and right. He's gonna win some people some championships. But y'all already knew that. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason have the 4th easiest schedule. Better on the front end than the back end. Started off with the Dallas Cowboys, then the Giants, you love that. But then you get the Detroit Lions, which are really good. So that's not a great matchup. But the first 2 are fantastic. Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson have the 5th easiest matchup for running backs. Starting off with the Bills, Ravens, and Jets. Jets, Jets. Travion Henderson's been incredible. My only worry about him is I don't know what's going to happen when Ramondre Stevenson gets back. I assume that he's still going to have a solid role, but I definitely think they're going to be splitting it. It's not just going to be all him and Ramondre Stevenson gets a couple touches. I think it's a split backfield, but he has the juice to break off a big one. And these matchups, they gonna need him to break off 1 or 2. And as an honorable mention, Saquon Barkley has the 6th easiest schedule. He faces the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Buffalo Bills. Bills in championship week is nice. 4th easiest matchup. Let's get it. Moving on to the tight ends. Tight ends with the easiest matchups in the playoffs, weeks 15 through 17. If Darren Waller comes back, he has the best matchup. I don't know if I'd be looking into his backups, but if he's back, you got the Steelers, Bengals, and Bucks. Pretty good. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely have the 2nd easiest schedule for tight end. They get the Bengals, Patriots, and Packers. Problem is, they're really tough to rely on. Pretty touchdown or bust. Tyler Warren has the third easiest matchup in the playoffs. Seahawks, a banged up 49ers team, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are actually bad against the tight end. Tyler Warren should eat. Mason Taylor has the fourth easiest matchup in the playoffs. This one makes me nervous. Don't trust their quarterback play. He hasn't been consistent, but spot starts. They get the Jaguars in week 1. Follow that up with the Saints. Round it out with New England. Not bad. Desperate times. Cause for desperate measures. Sam Laporta has the sixth easiest matchup. Start off with the Rams. Back with the Steelers. Cap it off with the Vikings. It should be interesting. Moving on to the bad matchups. Tight ends with the worst playoff matchups. Weeks 15 through 17. Brock Bowers has the worst playoff matchups amongst all tight ends. That is awful. Prior to this, I would not have been very concerned because he's Brock Bowers. But he just went 1-31. Ugh. All right, let's check out these matchups. Start off with the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the best against the tight end. That's not great. Houston Texans, who are all around great. And they cap it off against the New York Giants, which they're mid. I'm not overly afraid of them. Those other two, though, it's not good matchups. Not good. But he's Brock Bowers. You're going to play him. It's just you might need upside somewhere else. Speaking of finding upside somewhere else. Travis Kelce has the second hardest schedule. No bueno. You get the Chargers, who are the fifth against the tight end. Titans are eighth because you don't need to throw on them. And then the Denver Broncos. We're going to get a preview of that this week, so I'm very curious to see how that goes. But this is very unfortunate. Zach Ertz has the third toughest schedule. Giants, Eagles, Cowboys. It's really Philly that's pulling this down. And without Jaden Daniels, I'm not overly excited about him regardless. Dalton Schultz is at fifth. Faces the Cardinals, Raiders, and Chargers. Most of y'all probably won't be starting him that late. Like to give an honorable mention to Oronde Gadsden, who has the sixth hardest schedule. And honestly, looking at it, it's bad. Start off with the Kansas City Chiefs, who are fourth against the tight end. Then Dallas, who's middle of the pack. But then you get Houston, who's sixth against the tight end. That's not good. That's tough. But I think he's talented, so he should be able to perform, but no bueno. Dallas Goedert is another honorable mention. He has the seventh hardest schedule. Raiders, Commanders, Bills, the tough schedule. And he's touchdown dependent, so you're really going to need him to get a touchdown, but he already has 7, so that's actually kind of wild. Moving on to the defenses. Defenses with the best matchups, weeks 15 through 17. You got the Houston Texans. They get to go up against the Arizona Cardinals, the Las Vegas Raiders, who have been terrible, and the Chargers, which isn't a great matchup. But those first two, really good. You then have my Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the fourth easiest schedule. We got the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Dolphins. You're not really overly worried about any of those guys. Moving on to the bad defenses. These defenses have the worst playoff schedules, weeks 15 through 17. The Chargers are coming off a good game, but that playoff schedule is terrible. Chiefs, Cowboys, and Texans. That's rough. The Vikings have the second hardest schedule. They face the Cowboys, Giants, and Lions. I know they're a solid defense, but probably not one to play them. The Rams have the third hardest schedule. They face the Lions, the Seahawks, and the Falcons. The Lions and Seahawks games are going to be rough. This next one, y'all going to want to use this next one, and it's going to be bad. The Denver Broncos have the fifth hardest schedule. First, they play the Green Bay Packers. That's not great. Then they play the Jacksonville Jaguars. That one makes me slightly less nervous. But they cap it off with the Kansas City Chiefs, which is never good. Would prefer not to play them. Would prefer to never play a defense against them. You never know what Mahomes is going to do. Honorable mention for the Green Bay Packers. They have the sixth hardest schedule. They face the Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, and the Baltimore Ravens in championship week. Ugh. At this point in the year, if you're 7-3, 8-2, 9-1, you need to be preparing for the playoffs. You got to start getting ready right now. What are the good defenses in the playoffs? Do you need to make any adjustments, make any trades? Don't get complacent. You can always be making your team better. Also, I've been telling y'all this for weeks. You need to have your backup running back. If you have Saquon Barkley, you should have Brian Robinson Jr. If you have Bijan Robinson, you should also have Tyler Algier. If you have Kyron Williams, you should also have Blake Corum. If you have Saquon Barkley, you should have Tank Bigsby. If you have Breece Hall, you should also have Isaiah Davis. If you have DeAndre Swift, hopefully you have Kyle Monangai. The list goes on and on. This is the time where you are preparing for the playoffs. If you only have a loss or two, you're going to make the playoffs. You should be ready for if anything happens. Grab your backups, grab an extra defense. Make sure that when your stars have bad matchups, you have other players that can counteract that. Also, if you need any trade advice, I have a trade tips and tricks right up here. Hopefully it helps you out. If you have any questions, hit me up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and the notification bell down below. I'll see you soon, Bay Nation. Peace.